Thank you to everybody who's joined us this evening. Really pleased to introduce Azadeh Tavuzian, who's going to talk about integrity. And I think that's one of the most difficult aspects to describe. What does it mean? But we all seem to know it when we see it and when we see people who we would describe as having integrity, an important part of authentic leadership. So Azadeh will tell you a bit more about herself and a bit more about how integrity fits within our dimensions of leadership. Over to you, Azadeh.
Thank you, Kate. Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be with you today in this webinar. As you know, my name is Azadeh Tavuzian. I am a sales supervisor at Molton Brown Company, and about 5 years that I have experience in luxury retail department store. Before Molton Brown, I was working for Fortnum & Mason as a senior sales assistant. I got my MBA in 2008, and I got my MSc in research about knowledge management in 2017, and from both of them from London Metropolitan University. During my work, I had many experience working with different leaders with different approaches, and the most reliable one for me were those that I could trust them and learn from them to do my work in the right way. Basically, they were authentic leader with integrity, and I always admire what they were doing. Institute of the Leadership and Management identified 5 dimensions of the great leadership, namely collaboration, vision, achievement, and also ownership, with authenticity at its heart. Each of the 49 webinars focus on one component of each of the dimensions. Highlighting essential learning to assist your leadership development. The first dimensions that we are going to talk about here is authenticity. Basically, authentic leaders, they recognize by their integrity and also being a trustworthy individuals. They know and live in their values. They challenge and empower others to become the best they can be. The dimension of the authenticity separate authentic leaders practice into the 8 components, offering pathways for the self-development and improve conversation for better organizations that are recognized externally as living in their values. Today in our webinar, we will explore more about this authentic leadership and also self-awareness of integrity. Authentic leaders, basically, who are these? We want to know first who are these authentic leaders are. They are individuals that they know their inner values and act according with them. They have the integrity that it associates with the words like honest, decent, ethical, moral. This leader brings their integrity and with integrity brings their values inside of their workplaces and also in their relationship with the other member of the team and the stakeholder, and try to do exactly according to what they say to their team. But first they have to have a clear understanding of what their values are. Which it can be possible with writing a personal mission statement and act in accordance with them by walking the talk and keep their promises that they're giving to others by developing their moral courage. We would like to know now what is this personal mission statement is and how important is for authentic leaders. By having a personal mission statement, you have a guideline, basically, when you are in a difficult position to make a difficult decision, you always can go back and look at your values, and based off what is right, you make a decision. Also, when you repeat this personal mission statement for yourself, you always can basically, when you're repeating them to yourself, it becomes part of your life. And then without even thinking about these values, you will realize that you're acting according to them. And very soon you'll see that your other colleagues and team members can trust you and rely on you on what you are doing. To write a personal mission statement, you need to take some simple steps. For example, writing down a question, asking questions and answering questions about what you are doing and what you want to achieve. We have some of the example of these questions here, as you can see. You can set out questions like what you want to achieve, how this reflects your values, and consider what things are you proud of already in your life and in your careers. How would you like to be remembered? Who do you admire? And why? What personal goal emerged from this? I can give an example of myself. What I want to achieve, I always wanted to create a work environment with trust and affect people with my action to work with moral and ethical awareness. How does reflect on my value? My value is to work with integrity and be honest with everyone. And basically, I am proud of my honesty, because when I back to my career, I always see that when I was wrong in some points, I accepted and I took the responsibility of my mistake. And I would never lie to anyone about what I've done. And I like to be remembered as someone with moral and ethical awareness and with integrity. And I admire those that have these values. And I hope to become in a level that always can affect people to change in a positive way and improve. So, to write your personal mission statement here, we do have some common framework example. For example, you can write your value. I value, you can choose 2 or 3 beliefs and values that you have, and give the reason why this value is important to you, and what you can do to live in these values for the rest of your life. Or another framework could be like the one that you can see, I shall put a verb there in order to get my target, so that this outcomes come out of that. The complete example of it we do have here. I value integrity because it means I can trust people with integrity. So the rest of my life, I will try to always be trustworthy. Or another example is, I shall network in order to increase my contacts so that I am aware of opportunities. So basically, these are the ways that you can use to do your personal mission statement. Another important thing for the authentic leaders is walking the talk. Action always speaks louder than words for these leaders. What you do must reflect on what you believe. And you can't say something and do another thing. It should reflect on your values. You always need to be hold on your personal mission statement. And when you keep promises, you need to keep that promises and do exactly as you said you would do. And be aware of that people around you always observe you and see your actions, and they follow you, follow your step and copying you as a leader. And their brain basically working like a mirror. They are a phenomena that we are going to mention here. It's called mirroring phenomena. That neuroscientists have identified mirror neurons in the brain of the individual. So your staff observe you and do as you do, not as you say. Among other things, they will be aware of what you give a priority to, how you speak to the people. Are you going to be respectful to everyone? Are you behave toward everyone in the same manner? Are you equal to everyone? Or which people you speak to? Do you have a couple of favorite ones that you always interact with, or you are going to interact with everyone in the same way? So these are important points that we always need to consider when we are at work, because even we are trying to hide ourselves, there are people there that they can see what we are doing. So it's quite important. Another important thing for authentic leaders, of course, is integrity, but integrity needs to be with the moral courage. If we have integrity and we have the wrong value, we can harm people. For example, Hitler, he was authentic leader, he had the integrity, but unfortunately his values harm lots and lots of people. So we need to have values that do not harm anyone. We always need to remember doing the right thing. We need to do the right thing, even at the risk of inconvenience, even at the risk of a punishment and losing our job or security. When we see even our senior member of the staff doing something wrong, we need to alert someone, or we need to tell them that that is wrong. We can't close our eyes and do not see the mistakes that are happening in the public. For example, if you see a group of the people making a joke about female population at your organization, or making a joke about disabled people, we need to confront that immediately. We can't just let them to get away from it. We need to see them and tell them that that's wrong and it should not happen again in a public. So basically, whatever you do, you need to make your right decision and be sure that your values won't harm anyone, not now, not in the future. So to boost your moral integrity, Ken Blanchard's cited 6 principles. These principles can be very useful to the office politics and then handle the office politics as well. The first one, as you can see, is keep confidence. You know that your value is right and you know you're right. So you need to be confident on what you're doing. Admit when you're wrong. Don't try to hide your mistakes. Admit it and say and be responsible about it. Be sincere about your work and avoid talking behind people's back in your workplace. Be non-judgmental, but be critical to your member of the staff, because through the critics that they can understand what was their mistake, and then how can they correct themselves. Also, show respect to everyone in the same way. This can be really helpful to the leaders. Although there are some leaders that you might say that, okay, we don't want to be involved in the office politics, or they want to get away from it. But to be honest with you, that's not impossible, because whatever happening around us, directly or indirectly, it's going to affect on our performances. So it's better to learn how handle this politics and how handles the situation than get away from that. So these 6 principles can be good example and can be good support for the leaders with integrity to handle the situations in their work environment. Finally, and furthermore, you should never forget that you or your own behavior set the tone for your team. And who set the tone for your team, and who will do as you do, not as you say. So this was the thank you everyone for the listening to me, and this is the end of our webinar. I hope you enjoyed and could get some informations and learn stuff from this and from my experience.
Thanks very much, Azadeh, and over to you, Arwin.